Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed faculty and fellow classmates that will be reading this, we stand at a crossroad facing an urgent and daunting challenge, and that is climate change. This crisis, fueled by our actions, demands immediate attention and a resolute commitment to advocating for sustainable practices. Today, I aim to highlight and hope to convince you about the urgency of addressing climate change and its imperative need for collective action before the damage we have done becomes irreversible. My main points for this video will be about understanding climate change, its urgency for action, possible solutions and mitigation strategies, as well as overcoming challenges and skepticism we might see along the way. But what is climate change? Well, climate change refers to significant and lasting alterations in Earth's climate over an extended period. It's primarily driven by human activities that release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, such as fossil fuels, deforestation, and agriculture. Greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide trap heat in the Earth's atmosphere, leading to the greenhouse effect. This effect is natural and necessary for maintaining a habitable temperature on Earth. However, human activities have significantly increased the concentration of these gases, intensifying the greenhouse effect and causing the planet to warm at an alarming rate. Next, I will show an excerpt from a TED Talk from Christy Ebby, who was an epidemiologist and public health researcher. She talks about the long-term effects of climate change on agriculture. Please follow through.
Climate change is affecting agricultural productivity. The Earth has warmed about 1 degree centigrade since pre-industrial times. That is changing local temperature and precipitation patterns, and that has consequences for the agricultural productivity in many parts of the world. And it's not just local changes in temperature and precipitation, it's the extremes. Extremes in terms of heat waves, floods, and droughts are significantly affecting productivity.
Next, I will show a video from National Geographic that shows what we can do to help prevent or mitigate climate change, as well as some downsides to using these alternative energies.
Renewable energy use is on the rise, and these alternative energy sources could hold the key to combating climate change. What is renewable energy? Renewable energy is generated from sources that naturally replenish themselves and never run out. The most common sources are solar, wind, hydro, geothermal, and biomass. Over 80% of the total energy consumed by humans is derived from fossil fuels. However, renewables are the fastest growing source of energy in the world. Renewable energy has many benefits. First, it can combat climate change because it creates no direct greenhouse gas emissions. The only emissions that they produce are indirect, meaning those that result from manufacturing parts, installation, operation, and maintenance. But even those are minimal. Second, renewable energy can decrease pollution and therefore reduce threats to our health. Wind, solar, and hydroelectric systems create no air pollution emissions, and geothermal and biomass energy systems emissions are much lower than non-renewable energy sources. Third, renewable energy is a reliable source of power. Because renewable energy sources are, well, renewable, they will never run out. Once built, renewable facilities cost very little to operate, and the fuel is often free. As a result, renewable energy prices tend to be stable over time. While renewable energy has many advantages, it is not without downsides. It is difficult for renewable energy sources to generate power on the same large scale as fossil fuels. Building wind farms and dams can disrupt wildlife and migration patterns and lead to ecological destruction. Both solar and wind energy are intermittent. They only generate power while the sun is shining or while the wind is blowing. Batteries can store excess energy for later use.
Now, it's all easier said than done, but what are some legitimate problems to switching to alternative fuel, and why are so many people against it? Well, from an economic standpoint, the environmental regulations that are put in place can affect some jobs in certain industries and could potentially hinder the global economy on a grander scale for a while. But at the same time, it cuts jobs. It gives it room to create new ones in its wake. An example of this is an environmental protection agency, such as the EPA. The EPA protects people and the environment from significant health risks, sponsors and conducts research and development, and enforces as well environmental regulations for companies and citizens alike. There is also an overwhelming majority of scientists in the scientific community who believe and know that climate change is a real thing, such as an example is the American Association for the Advancement of Science, where 97% of their climate scientists believe that climate change is real and know that it will have devastating effects if we do not act sooner. The last factor that can deter someone from wanting to pursue and believe in climate change is that it is very costly, which is not a doubt, that is a fact. It will cost a lot to change and transition over from non-renewable to renewable, and there will be backlash from the public at initial startups. But as time passes by, just like all things, the public gets used to it, and we see it as normal. We perceive it as normal, and it only takes a matter of time, decades, generations, before it's a common thing, and non-renewable is a thing of the past. This concludes my presentation, but does not conclude the fight for climate change. If we do not act in time, our effects could be detrimental for generations to come. I hope that you learned something from this video, whether it be what climate change is, how it affects us, what we can do to prevent it, or even just the skepticism of it. I hope you're able to do something, whether it be tomorrow or next year, but do something. Do something that reduces our carbon footprint and allows our planet to thrive for generations to come. I thank you for watching this presentation, and may this video stay in your mind.